Is my game for a little bit of this first? Start it off?
Yeah, go for it.
Yes, do a little bit, yeah.
All right, I'll do a little bit.
Hit it,
Yeah. We got it cooking right away.
Normally we don't do it at the beginning, but yeah, let's get it.
I'd like to thank my corporate sponsors, Pampers Pure, Blue Kimonos.
I think you're supporting Pampers. You got it twisted.
That's true.
You're putting their kids through college.
Oh,
Buying a lot of diapers.
yeah.
Boom, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Banya. As usual, we've got the voluptuous, the sexy, the magnificent Dana Lundquist to my left. And very excited to have our guest today, Bo Scott. Scott, right?
Yep, Scott.
Bo Scott. Any famous people named Bo Scott?
Yeah,
Feels like missing something there.
Bo Jackson.
Yeah. Bo Ridley.
Bo Diddley. Yeah.
Bo Burnham.
Yeah, there you go.
Comedian.
Bo Biden.
Bo Biden.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Mm.
Different spelling, though.
You're right. Yeah. Mine's a nickname. I'm Brad Jr. My parents.
Oh, okay.
Apparently didn't know that I was going to be a boy, but wanted to name, if I was a boy, Bo, and didn't know how to get there. So they said when I was born, apparently my dad was just like, it's Brad Jr.
Just panicked.
So I'm a nickname.
Yeah.
All right.
Not
Cool.
self-conscious about my name at all, but you know.
Yeah, no, it's a good name. Great name. Nothing wrong with a Bo.
No.
Or Brad. Brad, Thad, and Chad. Boom.
Yeah, well, Bo is BJJ Blue Belt over at Aries Paradise Valley, a father of 4, and a savage human being on the mats, savage in life, and just a sweet guy. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Heck
Finally.
yeah.
I've been listening.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Well, I want to start this one off a little bit different. We'll dive into your jiu-jitsu, but we were talking out by the cold plunge about something, and I think he's going to be perfect to launch into this with. I think he'll love this idea. So I've been like obsessing over this idea lately of a second option for kids. Like when I grew up, it was like college or bust. Like that was how I was raised to go to college, right? Like that was gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
And you know, falling for me personally, like really distrustful of colleges and universities as institutions. Not super excited with them. And even though my experience was amazing and great, I can see now like a lot of shortcomings with that whole experience. So I've formulated this idea, an option to present to my children. So when they turn 17 or so, you sit them down and say, look, here's what it's going to cost to get you through school. Instead of doing that, we take that money, we buy you a house, and we start a business together that's yours. I will be your mentor. I'll teach you everything I know about business, you know, about life, finances, all this stuff that will make a human successful in a career, right? And I think we devalue the knowledge that we as parents have and just go like send our kids off to school to learn from other people when like there's a super great solution right there in your own house. So it's a great way to spend time with your kids and help them in a more meaningful way. I think there's just a lot of stuff that you don't learn in school about how to be successful, not just at a job, but beyond that. And so obviously the kid would need to be, have that kind of entrepreneurial spirit and willing to put in that hard work, because it's not going to be for everybody. So they would have to kind of prove to you that they earn your trust in that way. But I think it's just like a super fun way to get around that like traditional way of growing, or of kind of pushing your kids to a higher education as the next step. So, and I know you were talking about this. It sounds like your kids go to an awesome school where it's like a hybrid of homeschool and sending them there.
So Arcadia Christian Academy started a couple years ago by an entrepreneur, actually, a guy that did extremely well with the sort of a technology business. And they were kind of looking at the co-op situation for homeschool kids and other, kind of models that they had seen in California and other places. I forget the name, but they looked around in Arizona and said, hey, there's really no equivalent to what we've seen. So why don't we just start one? And they thought, this was in March of 23, they thought at the time, if we do this, let's do it for our kids and then maybe like a few families that we know, 20 kids tops in our first year. They ended up with 120 with a 100-person waiting list.
Wow.
And then in year 2, so this is the second year of operation, they have, I think, 250 kids with 500 kids on the wait list.
Whoa.
And so now they're moving to a new campus, Church of the Nations at Bethany Home and Central, and they're going to have like 400 kids next year.
Wow. But
still same model, very parent-driven. They don't really, I didn't say this because it's on the ESA program, but attendance is not necessarily considered optional. Like you've got to kind of commit to show up, but it's a great, there's no homework. It's a great, kind of soft I should say. It's a very warm environment for education that's not overbearing. And it's been fantastic for our family, for our kids. The community's great. Our 7-year-old son, Ephraim, is, I kind of think about it like you. Like if they're showing skills that you want them to learn in school, like reading, like ability to do math. My thing is like if I put a piece of paper in front of you with like a paragraph of instructions, and you can read it and then finish the task, and you're in 2nd grade, like I'm pretty happy with your whole education.
Right.
Whatever you've done to get to that point, if it took you 15 minutes a day for a year or 15 hours of, like it doesn't really, to me, it's like the outcome or the product is what we're going for. And I think to your point, training kids in practical real world situations like entrepreneurship, a business, is going to be invaluable education. But as an executive recruiter, which is what I do for a living, I can tell you that a degree actually does open doors. It closes more doors than it opens, probably. Yeah. But in certain fields, not engineering, it's not optional. But like, if you're going to be an engineer, you probably need to get a degrry.
Yeah, right? Yeah, of course. And if you've got brainiac kids and like you can tell that then they really enjoy that kind of work, and like it's going to be tough because you're going to have to make that call for them. Like I think their happiness is going to come from having that engineering degree or whatever. But like I know plenty of people that have gotten an accounting degree and realized that they fucking hate it. And then you know what I mean?
Most people that get accounting degrees realize
that. It seems like even if they're successful, they still don't really enjoy it. So why not like set your kids up? And like that's the factor that gets like overlooked so much is just like the level of happiness. So like my situation, I'm not a rich man financially, but I joke with my wife all the time. I tell her I'm the richest man in Arizona. Like I'm super happy. I've got this great work-life balance. I don't have a boss. You know what I mean? It's like there's things that are more important than money.
Totally.
And that especially, for me personally, just make my life so beautiful. And I'm very grateful for all that. And I wouldn't want to be a financially successful accountant or attorney or something like, you know what I mean? That's miserable to do. Thank you. So
now I'm with you, man.
I'm more interested in like providing my kids with like a freedom level of happiness, and a little bit of, upfront. And actually I kind of, like again, like if I had done this model, because I got my bachelor's degree and then a master's degree, I look at that as 7 years of I'm behind 7 years. Like if I had started the business right out of school, like that compounded interest, you know what I mean? Like that's and it wasn't just 7 years, it was 7 years, and then it was like a couple years of scratching my nuts trying to figure out what I was going to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was more like a decade that I'm behind now in launching this. Like if my business were 10 years started already by now, like dude, different game.
Yeah.
And it's just like I said, it's just 360, I think, just a better idea for certain, like, and I'm looking at my kids right now, and I think they'll be prime candidates for it. They're not, I don't think they're going to be geniuses by any standard. I'm certainly not, but what they have is a ton of energy and great social skills, which I think for an entrepreneur is super important. Yeah. And somebody that's going to start a business, you have to have like an iron will. That's really the most important thing.
Yeah, and I wonder if even now, as young children, you said 16, 17, whatever, start a business, buy a house. I think that's brilliant. Seeing proclivities for entrepreneurship young, giving them something to sell. Say, hey, we got 5 neighbors on the street. Here's something that you can sell them.
Yep.
I don't care if you sell it or not, but if you sell it, then this is the payout. You decide if you want the payout and just see what they do, how long it takes them, if they go knock on the door, because as you know, in entrepreneurship, like you got to sell what you do to make your money.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so, maybe an early sign of salesmanship or tenacity and hustle. I think that would be.
Yeah, maybe like you're when they're 13 or 14, you go, hey, look, in a couple of years, I'm going to be having this conversation with you, and if you want this opportunity, you need to take the steps right now to prove to me that you're worthy of this trust that we're about to bestow upon you. But I kind of look at it as either way, like. School's just as much of a gamble, and maybe more. It might cost you even more than like buying your kid a house and starting business, because you have to factor in if that business has any degree of success, it might be paying for itself. Right. It probably won't right out of the gates, but there's a pretty good chance that like those house payments might be pretty soon covered by your kid and their business,
That'd be amazing.
So, it's not, it might cost you a lot less than it would to put them through a university or a college. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Well, counter question. Mm-hmm. You were a college athlete. Was your paradigm kind of going through school, like I'm going for a scholarship or bust? And did you get a scholarship at Purdue?
Yeah, it was all that. Like, I was going to go to college regardless of whether or not, I was wrestling. It was just kind of like it was the path that, and, my parents, there was nothing wrong with it, and they weren't wrong. Like, it's a great way to advance yourself and all that. So, like, that was just going to be the path. There was just no other option. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what it was. Same. So, and I think, like, to cover, like, the social aspect that, like, some kids might miss out on the college experience, Jiu-Jitsu has shown me, like, it's not a collegiate sport, but that can satisfy all of those urges and needs to compete without being tied to this institution that's taking advantage of you. Right. I mean, like, now these college athletes, they get the NIL shit, but when I was there, you weren't allowed to have a job. Right. And you were owned by basically the university. Like, they owned you. And I'm not saying wrestling made them any money probably, but still you were tied down like you were their slave. They had you calling alumni trying to get money and shit. It was, it's kind of gross. So, it's a bad system and I don't like it. And I think that you can chase any athletic dreams you want outside of the collegiate realm. Totally. So,
well, I think that, we don't know what even university is going to look like in 10 years.
Exactly.
I think it's going to make a big shift because the value you get out of it, obviously what you're learning, the social skills of, having to, work with other students, to complete projects, balancing your time to be able to complete, schoolwork and tests and all of that stuff, right? But where the value is, at least, like in executive recruiting, like you're doing, Bo, is that it's the degree. Showing you have the degree. It shows that you went through all of that, which obviously there is value to that, to completing it. Totally. And just showing that you can complete that. Yeah. However, a lot of that accreditation, which is how these universities are staying, in business, if they lose accreditation, that's it. Universities are over with. Yeah. I think that there's going to be other ways and other ways of learning and university type advanced learning that are going to have a different kind of accreditation that's not going to be as expensive. Partially because of AI being a piece of it, of course. But with these professors, everything's going, not everything, but a lot of it is going online. So putting a lot of these lectures online where they don't necessarily have to be in person all the time, where a lot of people can learn this stuff on their own time via
Write
YouTube.
The paper, take the exam.
Right, and you just have somebody who goes through and reads the papers, takes the exam. Yeah. There's software now where you can take an exam from your computer, and they can see if you're looking away at a different screen or little things that can manage people cheating and actually getting a solid learning environment. Right.
Totally. Yeah.
So there's going to be some sort of shift. It has to happen, and honestly, like whoever can be like at the front of that. Is gonna make
I know a guy that's here local. His name is I forget his first name. His surname is Knopfel, but he's a PhD. He works at ASU in some kind of like think tank, and he's starting a company that's like very AI driven education. And so it's two things, like the education that's being delivered in a school setting, and I grew up going to public school and spent all the time doing that. But
where did you grow up?
I grew up in Arkansas.
Oh,
so
okay.
Fayetteville, Arkansas. Fayetteville,
Yeah.
which is northwest corner, Ozark Plateau, not to be confused with the Delta. But it was kind of like school and sports.
Can we eat the fruit roll-ups that you made
They're not ready yet. They'll be ready tomorrow.
tomorrow?
Correct.
Tomorrow.
We're dehydrating, making our own fruit roll-ups.
Killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it was very much school and sports. My dad was a college coach and then turned an insurance agent. And so for me, it was like it seems like you just college is the option, and basically like your reward is going to be to get a scholarship.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't thinking very critically about the education. Obviously, hindsight's 2020, but I'm very glad that my kids now are in a place where sports is kind of part of the, like your kids train jiu-jitsu, like they've done some soccer, they've done a little t-ball, but we don't like watch sports at home very much.
Right.
Sometimes we, cheer for our teams and whatnot, but it's just whatever you allow to monopolize your time, and school can do that, or sports or whatever is going to end up, being the thing that everybody's looking back on and saying, man, maybe we should, we went all in on that, didn't we? It was a little excessive.
I'm with you. To a fault, my entire life, I've never been less interested in anything than watching a sport.
Right.
I cannot stand it. I fucking never have. I never will. I don't even watch UFC, really. That was the first fight I've ever seen was at Dana's house the other day. That was fun because we're hanging out as buddies, but I would never turn that on by myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just not
I'm
something I'm interested in.
I'm the same, and I played football in college and love SEC football. And then just for a while, I think I was telling you guys out there about living in India. Watching games at 4 a.m. just doesn't have the same appeal as sitting at home on a Saturday at 2 p.m. with a cold beer and a cup of chili and hanging out. Yeah. I'm a huge Knicks fan. So Knicks in 6 NBA conference finals tomorrow night. I think 4:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm not going to watch the game, but I'm following it.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't have time to watch the game. I don't.
Yeah, that's different these days too. You can kind of get like the live.
Yeah, you just get the 5-minute highlights after the game and
for
brag about it at work, but that's about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you this then. What college did you go to?
I went to the University of Arkansas.
Oh, okay,
Fayetteville.
cool. So, were your parents strict growing up?
Strict?
Yeah, like alcohol, like that kind of shit.
That's a good question. And this is So Fayetteville, Arkansas, is like the absolute 24 karat gold buckle of the Bible Belt, and to this day is one of the most, I would say, like evangelical, non-denominational Christian centers of operations for a lot of churches that sort of send people out to other places and whatnot. But my parents, my dad is a military brat. My mom grew up in Southeast Arkansas. Met very young, had kids very young, and so that in a lot of ways they were just kind of figuring out life. And I think faith is part of that with kids now. In a growing business. My dad's an insurance agent, like I said, in a town that has a lot of good young families, that we're all kind of in the same boat. And so I don't think that they were strict from a like this is what we are as a family kind of thing. You cannot do this, you cannot do that. But it was very much behavior is paramount. We want you to represent our family well out there. We don't want you to be screw up at school. We don't want you to be partying. And I am a middle child. I don't know if this is part of my nature or whatnot, but I'm also a bit of a people pleaser. And so my sister, my sister and I,
I'm a middle child as well. And it's the same kind of way.
Support group right here.
Yeah, it was pretty I never I always wanted to obey my parents. I saw value in that, and I got to watch my older brother, get in fights all the time with my parents, and I was always like, dude, all you gotta do is say yes sir, yes ma'am, and this fight's over. That's all they want to hear.
Yeah. So I was the type that kind of knew that a boundary existed, and I didn't mess with it. And I think it was as much fear of what could happen.
Disappointing
them, but also just being a general sense of being in trouble is kind of terrifying to me because I make pretty good money and I pay my taxes and stuff, but I'm still scared of the IRS auditing me.
Yeah, you have a lot to lose. Yeah.
Well, it's irrational fear of kind of this if I mess up, then what? So I have a
Right.
sister, older. She was, relatively, she was straight-laced like me. But then we have a younger brother who was in the principal's office all the time, got kicked out of his school.
Wild
And
child.
go figure, he's like a touring musician and doing incredibly well now. So he's
Right.
got his own singer-songwriter thing going on, and he's touring. Actually, we'll be here in Phoenix July 22nd. Hard plug.
So,
So yeah,
What's the name
Yeah.
of his band?
Jake Scott,
Jake Scott.
yeah,
Nice.
singer-songwriter.
Cool.
yeah, so I mean, here's my point with that too. So like, we do this other crazy thing when we send our kids away to school. Like, we encourage them not to, obviously interact with substances and all that
Oh, yeah.
stuff, but
Totally.
that stuff is guaranteed to meet you in college.
Oh, totally, yeah,
And if a kid is unprepared, they're going to make a lot of bad decisions. I made plenty of my own.
Yeah.
My roommate, literally got his face stomped in by the cops. Like,
Shoot.
it's just like, it's kind of dangerous. Like,
Totally, man.
there was this one kid, his name is Wade Steffi. He came home drunk. He was in our dorm, and he accidentally went into the boiler room and got fried.
Oh.
And he was in there for weeks. They thought he got kidnapped and shit. So
Ooh.
they finally find him, and he's just cooked, right? It's
Yeah.
like... yeah.
Oh,
So
jeez.
Wade Steffi. So
Whoa.
the joke that came out right away was, what did the janitor say when he walked into the boiler room? Smells kind of Steffi in here.
Ah,
His last name was Wade
Yikes.
Steffi, right?
That's-
So yeah, super bad joke. But my point is, that's another thing that as parents, I think we need to like grow up and
Yeah.
realize like, hey, these things are coming for our kids. Let's
Yeah.
get a little bit more of a European household going on.
Totally.
Specifically with alcohol,
Yes,
like
yeah.
teach them how to do it correctly.
Yeah,
So that
I'm
when
with you there.
when they run off to college, if they do that they're not tempted to like
Yeah.
go overboard and do stupid shit.
Yeah.
It would be better to kind of be around them when they start, first,
Yeah.
enjoying that
Yeah. Well, and-
phase of their life.
I was in a fraternity at Arkansas. I again, the straight lace stuff followed me through college. I also, not for nothing, but at the time was dating the woman that I've now been married to for 13 years. So I've kind of always had that anchor in my life to keep me from, not just to keep me from being crazy, but just like a level of accountability.
Dude, we're like the same person, man.
Well, there you go. And you studied
Collegiate
college.
athlete.
Middle child.
Middle child.
Yeah, my wife. I've been with my wife since high school.
Same,
Like she's like a really down to earth person that like has no problem like calling
Yeah.
me out on my bullshit. So it's great to have those kind of women in your life that
Totally.
are not just like yes women.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, man. And I think that I've just kind of always had that sense of accountability with her, and then just going to college in the same hometown as your parents is a little bit in a town like that.
Oh, yeah.
is a little
Yeah,
bit
that helps.
not stifling, but it's like I'm not going to do anything. I play football. I go to school. I have a girlfriend. My time is booked.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I'm. There's really
All
no
right.
time.
You know what time it is?
Cold plunge time.
Yes.
All right.
Luke's
It's
out.
got about.
Let's go.
We'll be right back.
This episode of the Banya is brought to you by Optimize. Optimize is a health and wellness center run by Jesse Meringue, a fellow training partner of ours. They've got amazing center. They've got your cold plunge, your sauna, the infrared, the hot tub, compression therapy, as well as this PEMF therapy. It's like pulse electromagnetic field. It's amazing. Feels crazy, like you get that electro stim. But the idea is you've got a time in there for an hour to switch between different therapies. You can go from the sauna to the cold plunge to the hot tub. Feels amazing. Luke and I just did that last week, and absolutely, it was incredible. So if you're looking to recover from any sort of athletics or just to feel better, go check out Optimize. And for anybody, the listeners, if you just tell them you heard it on the Banya, they'll give you 50% off your first session. So I believe normally it's $39 for the first session for an hour. So it'll be half that. So go check them out. It's an amazing place.
Yeah, I was going for Arabic, obviously, like
Some red
9/11,
language.
all that. Yeah, it was super fun, dude.
All right, here we go.
Something I was thinking about when you were talking about the guy who
Yatakala Maravilla?
got stuck in the boiler room. Purdue is the Boilermakers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another sad part of that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how fast that joke popped up. It was like this skanky girl that was always like, she banged like pretty much everybody on the wrestling team, and she like she told me that joke. I was like, oh shit, it was a little too soon. You know what I mean? Yeah, and like so that kid's parents ended up suing Purdue, and I'm like,
the guy that got fried in the boiler room.
Right.
Yeah.
So I look at that differently. I'm like, dude, that's your fault, kind of. Like, again, getting back to what I'm saying, like, I think we need to jump in there with our kids, about not just like substances, but also relationships. Like,
Totally, man.
my parents were great guides because they're great people and they had great relationships. So like, I got to learn from that. But I think having more open conversations about how this all works, and like I got none of those like sit down conversations with like that kind of stuff, and I think it would be helpful. I don't know if every kid would enjoy that conversation, you know what I mean? But coachable people would benefit from a little bit more like open guidance from parents.
Totally, man.
But
they're gonna learn it from somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like, or they're gonna learn it like the hard way, probably. Which that's fine.
Some people have to learn things the hard way. I know.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of things in my life I had to learn the hard way. But I'm alive. I'm still here and very blessed. So thankfully, made it through.
But yeah, I mean, I was talking to my mom today or yesterday about that, and I was like, why do we just like pretend and assume that our children are going to be perfect little angels about these things we were just talking about? Like, it would be much more realistic to think that they're probably going to encounter a number of like things that we don't want them to. So it would be better if we prepared them for that kind of stuff. Like,
absolutely. I mean, talking about it, demonstrating self-control, obviously, being a person of your word and integrity. And then I think, like, I keep hearing this quote, like, with smartphones being ubiquitous, like, the day you give your child a smartphone is the day their childhood ends. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know, I think that there's a growing sentiment, especially among parents that have young kids and are sort of millennial and jaded and disillusioned by what's happened to, let's say, the entire, like, not the whole world, but, like, the smartphone changed the game in so many ways. And so, disillusioned, jaded parents that are tired of that hustle they want to protect their kids from that because they see kids walking around like, I don't know if you guys go to the Fashion Square at all, but it's like teeny bopper central,
right?
And a bunch of kids that just look stupid walking around looking at their phones and giggling and all that stuff. And it's like, that's going to be my kid one day. Hopefully they don't look like that and act like that,
Yeah.
But I will say that the school that we're a part of has a no social media policy.
Nice.
You cannot be a part of the school if your kid has a social media account.
That's awesome.
That's great.
And like, since it's a private school, they can get people to commit to that, and there's no problem. But
that's great.
Well, and the big thing
like that,
with young kids too is just from reading and hearing people talk about this, like Jonathan Haidt, is they feel like they're left out if they don't have their phone. However, if all of the kids don't have their phone, then they don't feel left out.
Right.
It's not as much of a problem.
Totally.
Yep.
So it's a catch-22. Like, if you let any of them have it, they're all going to want it. But if none of them do, they don't feel left out. They're going to want to hopefully engage with each other in person versus all of that being online now.
Yeah.
I think that currently is like my biggest, the thing that I fear the most, like that hurdle of like raising kids with smartphones and social media. I mean, there's a bunch of different, there's like horrible shit that can happen to kids. Like we didn't grow up with these, right? So, but like now all these kids that, particularly boys that have that, like porn is just in their pocket, and like some of these kids, like they can't get off because like they've just been, jerking off to porn for so long and watching this shit that they can't perform with a partner. You know what I mean? It just destroys their relationships and stuff.
That would be,
yeah, it's just like
the virtual hell.
Right, exactly. And the stats are off right now. Like apparently a lot of younger people, they don't have relationships. It's just like it's fading out a little bit in like a very creepy way,
That's scary, man.
It's dangerous.
It's a dangerous thing for society as a whole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Declining birth rates. I mean, that's fun stuff to think about.
Low
but,
fertility.
All the horrible nightmare shit that they can watch. I mean, like beheadings, like all it's just like
God, yeah,
it's a disaster.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Terrible.
I'm not sure how I'm going to navigate this yet.
Just be a man and lead, man. Speak the truth into the darkness and try to model it, and you can't protect your kids from everything. And I've got my oldest is 7, right? So I'm not there, but I've only heard it gets harder, and I'm sure it will. But just training the heart, training the mind.
Yeah.
Letting them know early that, like, hey, the world out there, man, it's not easy. It's not, nobody really, like, people love you and care about you, but there's a limit to that, and a lot of people love and care about themselves, and they want you to be a part of their thing, whether it's partying or doing stupid, just whatever it is that they get sucked into. I don't know, just knowing who they are and what they're about.
I do like this. Like, so when I was growing up, one thing that like my parents would shoot down immediately, and I like looking back, it's such a good thing. Like this was not repeated because like if we brought this up, it was over. So it went something like this, like, oh well, so and so's parents, let them do this or that, and it's just like, we don't do that. You know what I mean? That's not how we do it, and that's how it is. You know what I mean? So they were.
I've said that 1,000 times.
I think my parents are tougher than I am, though. That's where my fear comes from. Like I'm a pretty big softie with my kids, and so I think push come to shove, back against the wall, I can do that kind of shit. But I'm a little bit more of a pushover. Like they were better at setting those boundaries and holding them strong. Yeah. My kids can break me in a fucking couple minutes.
I remember you telling me that like sleepovers weren't a thing, like you guys wouldn't do, and you were thinking like you don't want to allow that. Was that you? Were talking about that?
That was not me, but my household was so much fun that I never wanted to leave it. Like everybody would come over to our house, and like we had just a good setup, and like everybody, would come over to my house. And when the occasional time that I would go over to somebody's house, the whole time I'm like, this sucks. I want to fucking go home. You know what I mean? Like this sticky ass couch, like fucking hot in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. We had such a good home that it wasn't.
That's good,
it was that. So. But no, there was no hard rules on going out to other people's houses. So
there was one other thing I was thinking about when you guys were talking is there was a lady who was saying that her daughter or son is so much more well behaved, and when she would talk about her kid, she, no matter what she was going through, she would say how much she listened, how thoughtful her daughter was. Like even when she's having a shitty day and like wasn't being that, just reinforcing that, especially within earshot of the girl.
Right.
So she would hear that and start to believe that because her mom believed it so much, even if she was being a little shitty. Yeah. Right, and it's that reinforcement. They hear that, they want to live up to that. Yeah. Even if they're in their teenage years and want to just rebel, it's like they still have that little feeling of wanting to get their parents' approval.
Well, for sure. Here's something super cool for us too. Like shifting gears from talking about like raising children. One of the guests that was on Rogan pretty recently, he was like a film guy. Like he made a bunch of movies.
Mm-hmm. Robert Rodriguez.
Yes, that guy was fucking amazing. And like one of the things he said that stuck in my craw was like if you want to be like a comedian, you just tell I'm a comedian. You tell people that you believe. You just start introducing yourself as that. Like if you want to write novels and you haven't ever written a page, but you want to get started, I'm a writer. You tell you're a writer. Yeah. You are that thing, and then you will hopefully figure it out, right? But like I was just like, oh shit, that's fucking awesome. And then all of a sudden I was like, I am all these things. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I don't need anybody's permission to be whatever I want to be, except for like NASA still hasn't replied to my request to be an astronaut. Those fucking assholes.
Those guys.
Yeah, but I'm a spaceman, dude.
All right.
I'm going
you
to
and Katy Perry can go on the next Blue Origin trip.
Unfortunately, I don't have big tits, and I don't know Elon.
You could identify though. You could identify
the prime guy, Bezos.
No, and I think to that point, in anything creative, and I feel like it's sort of the endowment of the creator in humans to create families, create relationships, in this case, create a community around a gym that Kobe created. You know, so like creation is happening all around us, and it's something that I feel like if you want to, you know, kind of like you said, live the reality that has been spoken into you, like your kids, you're a good kid. You're not a bad kid. You know, they have to walk in that, but also like do things and you know, kind of, i.e., create that reality for themselves, if that makes sense, by just being a human out in the world and making those decisions and living with the consequences and learning. You know?
Well, and I think taking what you're saying to a step further, like making your kid a success will take care of, I think, a lot of the problems that we're worried about. So if you devote a lot of time to like whatever they like, if it's jiu-jitsu or being an artist or whatever, like you help them succeed in that stuff, and they will gain enough self-respect and to avoid a lot of the shitty things that are going to come their way. You know what I mean? Because they have meaning, they have purpose, they feel important, you know? And like a lot of kids that do shitty stuff are kids that don't feel loved. You know, they feel like they don't have anything to lose, right?
They're a little neglected,
so and it's probably more of that.
Nothing to lose. That is a dangerous person, you know. So.
Well, and I think it's reinforcing that by, you know, having kind of check-ins and, hey, what are your goals? What do you want to do? And having it either written down or just spoken out loud, like, because then it makes you realize what is important and what things are going to cause you to not be able to achieve those things you want to do. I mean, that's why I got healthy when it comes to like eating correctly, because I couldn't do jiu-jitsu very well when I was eating like shit at lunchtime. So I changed my diet, and that just, you know, spiraled into getting deep down the, you know, rabbit hole of biohacking and all that shit, which, you know, it's for the better.
So much fun too.
It is, yeah.
You know what's cool though too, when you start eating healthy, you like, and it's scary for a minute. I've been telling you, I've been struggling with it, but you lose a huge desire of your drive to eat food. Like I'm just less interested in it, which kind of sucks because it's fun. Like cooking, I like cooking and all that stuff. But these days, I find myself like, I used to like get pumped to like pull up a recipe and make something cool and crazy, but now I'm just like, that shit's bad for you, and I don't really want to make whatever.
It depends on
the
recipe, but
no, I agree, but like still, my point is like my cravings overall for food have gone down. So it's like this win-win. You're not eating the shit food, and then like your body starts to pull back to a more natural reality of what a human actually needs to survive on. You know what I mean? It's a better relationship with food.
Totally, man.
And you may have not explicitly said this to yourself, but I've thought this is food is fuel. I'm treating it like, what do I need to eat? What's the best thing that I need to eat just to fuel myself? Like, and I've got it pretty locked down to some basic things that if I knew, like, I can get like 10 ingredients and I'm good for, you know, a month.
That's a great way to think and operate and live. It's just, the thing I miss is like the romantic side of cooking and like all the, you know, just
totally,
like
man.
All that. So, but I've
the joie de vivre.
I've learning to, I've made peace with that. Like that, hopefully ship is just gone now and it's fine. So, all right, Luke's got to get in the cold plunge one more time.
Yeah.
All right.
Dude. I think we're sold this bullshit, you know, and it's a one size fits all for everybody, and like as humans, we're just not.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
Should we go back for a little more steam?
Yeah.
I like the steam, man. Come on.
Yeah, hit it, dude. So Dana, let's put you on the spot.
All right.
So Bo and I were talking about our ladies and how they operate in our household and the benefits that they bring to the table, right?
Yes.
In terms of like taking care of us in their own special way. What's Sam bringing to the table for you?
Oh, it steams up here.
What are her strong points?
Hold on. Can't breathe with this steam. What are Sam's strong points? I mean, she keeps me honest and on top of staying focused on work. That's a big thing.
Doesn't let you play too many video games. Like
yeah, for sure.
Giving you shit for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, giving me shit for that kind of stuff. She actually has gotten me to eat a lot less candy. I'm a big candy fiend. I love candy.
Yeah,
I have cut down a lot on that. I still eat ice cream almost every night, which that's part of why I do jiu-jitsu, so that I can eat ice cream every night and stay in shape.
man.
Dude, that's one of those things though. If you can ditch it for like a month or two, like you'll forget about the enjoyment of it.
No, you're absolutely right, and I did for a little while when I was trying to cut weight for one of the tournaments. Like that was probably like 2 years ago now, or a year and a half ago. I wasn't getting sugar cravings after that. Now, I mean, I get sugar cravings every day, right around like 2 or 3 o'clock. Yeah, I'm in that cycle. It absolutely is.
It's hard to kick.
It really is. So if I just stop having sugar for like a week or two, it would probably go away.
So you're in the bathroom on the toilet eating some ice cream.
So I just keep it in my office desk. I've got a little stash that not always, but I will sometimes.
Yeah,
but
that's funny.
Yeah, it's gonna sound weird, and everybody, if you've never had them, always says that's such a weird candy. But chocolate covered gummy bears from Sprouts.
Yeah,
oh my god, they're amazing.
I don't like.
They're unbelievable.
I like weak ass teeth, like gummy stuff. I can't do. It just rips the enamel off my fucking teeth.
Yep,
that's interesting.
So. Fortunately, actually, my teeth have been great in the last couple of years. Luckily, and I switched over to. That's what I was asking about this bow. Is I switched over to Bite. They're little round tablets, and it's all natural. It's got xylitol and other things. I can't remember what the thing is, but it helps restore the enamel in your teeth.
Oh. Yeah, so it adds minerals.
Yeah, exactly. It adds minerals.
Nice.
So there's no more fluoride. And since then, I haven't had any cavities. Like my teeth have been way better. So just goes on to that biohacking thing of what other things we can do to just be healthier. I mean, I think my diet has been a big part of that as well, just because it's your gut microbiome. All of your digestion, it starts in your mouth. So if your gut microbiome is off, your mouth microbiome could be off. It's whether it's more acidic or whatever. I don't know the science behind it.
Right.
But I know that all of your body, if you're eating shitty stuff, you're constantly having inflammation from whether it be seed oils or just trash, processed foods. Our bodies, it's all working together. So it's like a holistic kind of overall health that it's definitely health. And I mean, I'm sure alcohol is a piece of that. So I don't really drink all that much either. So.
Okay. We got way off track with all of these conversations we're having. We got to talk to this guy about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
that's right, dude. We almost forgot to even.
The most important thing.
Yeah.
I mean, no, but also,
agree.
I agree.
But let's start with how did you get into jiu-jitsu? Where did your journey officially start?
Okay, it officially started at Grey Wolf. I was in the second round of Kabe's recruiting.
But you were early.
I was very early.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in the second class. And the short answer is, and this is, kind of just with where life is, kids, family, work, all that stuff. The thing that appealed to me the most, and this sounds kind of trite, but is the fact that he had a 10 a.m. class.
Yeah.
I'm not doing a 6 a.m. because I've got stuff to do in the morning. I absolutely can't commit to a 6 p.m. because I've got stuff to do at night. And so when I walked in there, I was like, hey, I'm interested in the Warrior Challenge. I'm probably only going to be able to come to the 10 a.m.
Yeah.
He's like, that's fine. For a while, it'll probably be a private between you and me.
Yeah.
But then, of course, we had our dear friend Ryan Arnold there pretty much every time.
Dope. Yeah, dude, that's perfect for you. He's your height. Fuck, dude. That's awesome.
So my first, this is again the short answer. My first 9 months of training, they didn't have a Monday, Wednesday, Friday gi class. Mm-hmm. So my first 9 months of training were only no gi.
Tuesday,
Thursday, and it was with Coach Kabe, and it was with a small, not physically small, but a small and mighty group of gentlemen and ladies. Shay was actually a part of some of those classes early on.
Yeah.
Rad.
Well, because you're probably just over 3 years then now.
Yeah. But man, me and Ryan would scrap. He would mostly destroy. He would destroy me every time. But I think just rolling with a guy like that early for that many rounds weekly, just developed a very I had to develop a game faster because he's. I mean, y'all have rolled with him surely, but I know you have. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
He's a difficult roll on his best day. On my best day. But it's really just the class time made sense for my schedule.
Yeah.
But going back to having my wife is 5'2", 105 pounds soaking wet. She's a very petite woman. Mm-hmm. We lived in a foreign country. we'd be walking around at night sometimes during the call to prayer, and there'd be things just literally horrid seas of people, where, or we're riding the subway and there's cars, like I've got people in my armpit and like people grabbing me and stuff. And I'm just like, man, if something went down, I am big enough to probably shove some people and throw some punches, but I don't know how to fight. And I think, that put into me a desire to learn how to defend myself. But I think even further back than that, I'm a reader, and when I was in high school, went to kind of a little bit of ghetto high school is the wrong way to put it. Just a high school with a lot of big public high school with a lot of fights breaking out all the time. And I just remember thinking, like, I'm literally terrified of not like fighting because pushing, shoving, getting broken up, like that's not a big deal, but just like, it seems like it's such a bad thing, fighting. Right. It's such a negative thing. But then, and this also sounds trite, but Fight Club, the movie came out, and I read the book, and I just remember thinking, like, you're investing something like fighting with so much goodness. And crazy movie, crazy story, but like the fact that people are together, they're doing something incredibly violent, but they're hugging and slapping hands, and they're like, come back next week and don't talk about it. And I think there's something deep in the race for humans that needs that physical outlet, and sports is that for some people, but sports is a team thing, so physical, like if it was only me and I had to take somebody down, like now I know I can, and that's helpful, but it's kind of come as an evolution of thinking that I need to learn how to do this,
Yeah, absolutely.
And then Grey Wolf's been awesome, so the fact that it's 10 minutes from my house is also incredibly convenient.
It's funny to think, like, in a true street fight, this is a reality, and it would be super hilarious. Like, say somebody wanted to kick your ass and they had great striking or something. As a jiu-jitsu person, and this is super gay, but you just go on your back and like put your feet up, and it's so hard to hurt somebody when they're in their is that guard, right?
Guard,
When you're just
it is damn near impossible. Like, a boxer would have no
you can't
chance.
You're not going to pass that, and you're not going to punch through that. So it's like
it's over. It's like
up.
As lame as that.
I'm not
kinda,
mad
like,
at you anymore.
would be in a fight, like aesthetically. It's like the truth is, like, good luck unless they know jiu-jitsu. It's just not happening.
And like, anybody who does jiu-jitsu long enough will say, like, any fight, it's going to eventually go to the ground. Like, unless you get knocked out. Like, that's what I say, like, my buddies who they don't train. I'm like, look, man, I'm not saying we're ever going to fight, but if we were, like, you got one shot to knock me out before I get it to the ground. As soon as it goes to the ground, you're screwed.
It's over. Yeah.
And that's it. And that's the benefit of jiu-jitsu.
I would wonder, though, if somebody was super good at kicking, how that would play out with the guard. Like, say they're just trying to, like, kick you in the head. And, like, I mean, you'd still keep squaring up to them with your legs. Yeah. And I think that would take that away from them. But
I think you get them to the ground
the problem
easily.
is like, you might get tired before they do, chasing for your head to punch you. You know what I mean? So, there's that. But I think you can get a hold of them, though. Like, if they try to kick you,
they get a hold of you. You can even get a hold of them
all that.
Your own legs. Like,
right.
You don't even have to engage your hands to do that.
So, what's your game look like as a jiu-jitsu boy, man boy?
Yeah, good question. So I think in a lot of ways it's a little bit stunted in the sense that, like, that first long period of training was no gi.
Yeah.
My game is very much pressure based.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I think it is.
Top pressure, though.
Top pressure and sweeps, right? So, like, if I'm on my back, I'm usually looking for a sweep, not a grip submission or like an armbar or something.
Sure.
But I, 10 a.m., especially after Brendan started teaching the class, has been very takedown heavy.
Oh, yeah.
So I feel good. Unless I'm going against Luke, I feel good about my takedown game.
Yeah.
I really like knee picks.
Okay.
So, like, I like a collar, cross collar, kind of a pull in punch knee pick. Mm-hmm. And I've hit it in gi, I've hit it in no gi. I hit it in that tournament at the World League last time.
Yeah.
But from there, I've been working on, like, passing, but not like a glacier through a ford passing, like more step passing, toreandos, getting around people and not through them.
Sure.
What's this one called, Dana?
It's
The
Toreando.
X-Pass.
The X-Pass.
It's part of Toreando.
Yeah.
but
Changed
yeah,
my
X-Pass.
life.
Yeah.
It's so fundamental and basic, but like,
Yeah.
it never, I don't know why, up
Yeah.
until like a month ago, it just like, it didn't clock in my head as like a super valuable tool,
Yeah.
but it is fucking amazing. It's the best.
For me, I learn mostly when I'm being destroyed by something.
Yeah.
And I went to an open mat over Christmas break at Exodus and with Jason, and actually that guy was at the open mat the other night, PJ, big blue belt guy.
Yeah.
And I was rolling with Jason, who's black belt, that was the gym. And, I feel like I can hang. He he's a judo black belt too, so he just like kind of pulled me down.
Is he the guy with all the beads and like little
he
short
wore-
guy?
Nah, I don't think so.
No.
That's Megaton.
No, the Exodus guy,
Oh.
you know what I'm talking about.
I mean,
Right?
it's
Like,
possible,
you watch
I know.
around the tournaments, he's got like all the wooden beads on.
That might be.
He's a
Maybe.
shorter guy though.
He's got long hair and a beard, but
Okay, no, yeah, different. I
sitting
think
there-
there are two owners though, so
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. So I'm sitting there on my back, just got taken down, and the guy just like basically steps past my knee,
right,
knee on belly, armbar.
super rude.
It's super easy, and I'm just like, it's like I think of a knee cut as like the pass. You get
Right.
in there, you commit to it, you lock in, like you really like get close and grind through there.
Mm-hmm.
But since I've said I'm probably gonna get swept maybe a little bit more often because I'm long and exposed. I will expend less energy actually just stepping.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
kind of working the feet.
Well, so
And-
like what you just described, this has recently changed my game. Specifically talking about passing, because that's always an area where I was like, I mean, okay,
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
didn't really spend a whole lot of time because like I could take people
Yeah,
down and
you
get the
can
side control
pass
pretty
the
quick.
guard,
But
yeah.
I spend more time in front of people nowadays. But what I do is I relax. I go
sure.
super chill. I relax my arms and everything, and I just look for the stuff that works.
Yeah.
And I don't commit too hard to one thing to where like I'm too deep and I'm fucked if it doesn't go.
Yeah.
I just kind of look for stuff until something like that guy just whip.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you,
it's simple,
you
and
know?
he's not breathing hard. He's not grimacing. He's just kind of doing it. And so, I mean, I love takedowns. I'll pull every once in a while if I just, kind of don't feel like I'm getting anywhere. Charlie's a guy, the 10 a.m. class. I'll give some shout outs. Charlie, Beast, Duke, Beast, Evan, Billy when he was there. Several other people that Jaime,
all the giants.
Brendan. Yeah, and all our Duke, all of our other friends in there. It's takedown heavy, but some people are really hard to take down. And so you decide to pull or you just kind of sit down and play the guard. But if I'm playing guard, I'm usually looking for like a scissor sweep or I really like the single leg X.
Yeah.
Yep.
To either leg lock or just coming up and trying to pass again. But from the top, I mean, my favorite move is Americana.
Okay.
Yeah,
I love it.
nice.
Don't let
Sets
anybody
up-
tell you that the Americana doesn't work.
Well, it's when Kabe told me
it
that
will always work.
A couple years ago, he was like, I went to this thing and they said it wasn't going to work, and I tapped like 4 or 5 people with it.
Yeah,
And it's
right.
like, yeah, well, it does work.
It's just not at the black
it's
belt
just-
level.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, frankly, I don't, like, with the gi on, I basically tell people, like, if a person is close or around my level and they're really, really good at the gi, I'm toast.
Yeah.
Not because I can't get out of stuff, but because I just don't. All the grips are still kind of coming to me because my first significant portion of training was mostly like
No gi.
yeah. Sweaty, slippery.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like. That makes for.
I think it's a great base, dude. Like,
Yeah.
cause like the gi stuff, I mean, you'll just get there, but like learning those fast motions that comes in no gi, that's harder for most people actually.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, obviously gi is trickier, but if we're talking about physical hard, it's more of a wrestling pace, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
it's a lot of athleticism,
Yeah.
whereas in gi,
Not a lot of
you can
stalemates.
hide behind like technical skill, versus like being a little bit more athletic and moving.
Yeah, and it's I guess not surprising when I did World League, I went 0-2 in the gi, did okay, but got beat twice, and then actually won a match in no gi and then got guillotined on a double leg.
Yeah.
By
Well, that guy was an absolute monster.
yeah, he
Wasn't
was pretty good.
He was advanced because when with World League they do novice, which is just white belt for no-gi, and then it's intermediate, so blue, and, purple, and then brown
Or
and
wrestling.
black. Yeah, or wrestling. So I think that guy was like a high level purple belt, anyways.
Well, and I looked him up. He has an MMA career,
Okay.
like an actual. He's won fights. He's Bellator.
Yeah.
That guy.
Let's real quick take a quick cold
Yeah,
plunge.
sure.
I'm getting cooked here.
I've been trying to work on my points of my game that I'm just not great in. So digging for arm bars and doing work on the back. I've been working on just in rolls lately.
Right.
So, but yeah, I mean, I describe jiu-jitsu for me with work, family. You know, for a while I was in a seminary degree, so I got a master's in biblical studies, and I actually write. So I'm writing a novel right now.
Oh,
You're
nice.
a writer.
Yes. Well, let's go ahead.
No, you are a writer.
Yeah. I'm almost done with the first draft
You're
of my
an
first
author,
novel.
a
So,
writer.
jiu-jitsu is a cul-de-sac in my life. It's like I go there to get exactly something, and while I'm doing it, I'm not thinking about anything else.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't connect to really anything else. I mean, it's philosophically it does connect to other things in my life, but it's that time, that hour, that 3 days a week or whatever, where you just get to go do something that takes your mind off of everything else.
Yeah.
Dude, just this morning, my crew starts at like 2 a.m., right? So there's problems that begin at 2 a.m. for me, right?
Yeah.
And like that 6 a.m. to 7 o'clock, it's so great, dude. I got bummed today though. Like, class is over, and I walk to the cubby, and I check my phone. Like, that's what I do after every class. And I just look at my phone, and like, there's
Disaster.
all these fucking not disasters. There's just messages, shit I have to do,
all
and
the
I'm
stuff,
just like, back to life, man. Like
Yeah.
that was fucking awesome because you forget about everything.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing but even in a simple practice that's not like particularly grueling. You're just so engaged in the technique and all this stuff that that's why I love being the uke too, because it extends that. Because like if I'm just on the sideline watching the technique, my mind will float to some problems in life.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But when I'm the uke,
Yeah.
it's a solid fucking hour of I'm just
Technique, man.
I'm just a jiu-jitsu dude.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a good
There's
point.
Nothing else.
I hadn't thought about this recently, but maybe that's one of the biggest things I miss from not having Kobe coaching much anymore.
You were always
I was
the
always
uke.
the uke.
You were the uke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that might be it, dude. Because it's
Yeah.
a different feeling class.
It is.
It is. It truly is.
Yeah. Huh.
It's a little bit of a gift.
Being the uke.
Yeah, truly. If
Yeah,
you get
it's
the
fun.
right mindset, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some people, it's probably annoying, but
Well, when we're working takedowns or throws, it's fun to be the uke.
Yeah.
Judo Brian shows up at 10 a.m. every once in a while.
oh
Yep.
shit, yeah,
It's
I'll
always
pass on being the uke on that. That's a big dog.
Yeah, he is, man. He is.
So, kind of back to you said about Fight Club. You a big Chuck Palahniuk fan?
I like that novel. I've read, I think, maybe one other. Not huge. I in my free time.
His stuff's real dark.
It
So
is. But I think what I'm trying to say is like I love prose. Right, so my favorite authors: Cormac McCarthy, Blood Meridian, The Road, All the Pretty Horses, No Country for Old Men. And I think Chuck Palahniuk's writing, like the actual words on the page, are good, but they don't really strike me as like as beautiful as others.
Sure.
And so I usually tend to read authors that I really like the way that they write, even if the stories are not necessarily like as engaging. And so I'm not as big of a fan. I liked Fight Club.
Yeah.
The movie's great, of course.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Stephen King, Secret Window.
I've
Did
not
you
read
read
it.
that?
I have not read it.
Okay, because it's one of my favorite movies, and I'm curious. Like, I've never read a single Stephen King novel.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But I have a feeling the writing in that particular movie is got to be good, just because of it. It's creepy and like so well done, and you don't see this coming. It's one of those things, and like I think writing shares that with like a stand-up comedy bit where if the setup is if the punchline is obvious from the setup, it's not funny.
Yeah.
You have to see, bing, like it's got to be
Exactly.
very obvious, right?
Yeah.
So I think that with writing is super important too. And like I was telling my wife about this the other day, the reason why like I think the show Vikings is super successful is because that main character, there's a problem that comes up, and then the way he handles it, you would not like, you go as an audience member, you go, I would do this. And he goes, I'm gonna do this crazy shit, and it works out. You know, it barely works out.
Yeah.
He takes these crazy chances on all this shit, right? It's just something like a sane person would not do. Mm-hmm. So it's like a surprise when he pulls off this crazy, thing,
Well, I like Quentin Tarantino has a quote where he says that good movies, like if you see the stuff that's come out of Hollywood now, the second the movie starts, first 15 minutes, you basically know the whole thing.
Yeah.
But he said a good movie, a good story, it doesn't really like linearly progress. It unfolds.
Right.
Good joke unfolds. I don't know if you are a Dave Chappelle fan at all. I'm not really a big Dave Chappelle fan, but he had a joke about the Jussie Smollett situation.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that one.
Look it up. It's hilarious. I don't even spoil it for you. Just look it up.
No,
it's
you're good. Yeah.
Hilarious.
I might have heard it. I have digested a bunch of his shit and forgotten more than
but it's just one of those things where it's like the genius of a person that is a truly great comic or an author or a filmmaker or something. They know how to use certain aspects that are deep within, because I feel like any comedy, any writing, any art comes out of who you are, and maybe that's a little bit revelatory for some people, but it kind of shows the inner workings of a person by the jokes that they make,
right?
How funny they are, and not because they sat there and they thought about it for 15 hours and they polished it with a microcloth or whatever. It's it's
authentically
it kind of just comes out of people that are funny. And I thought the roast was great the time that we did it. I didn't come for the last one, but
sorry, one more really quick, because the writing was fucking off the chain. The movie was amazing. The Heretic.
Oh, I haven't
did you watch that?
I haven't. No.
Holy
I love Hugh Grant, though.
Fucking shit.
Yeah.
The writing is
the dialogue was good.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
It is fucking amazing. Dear God, I
gotta watch
that. Might be my new. If it wasn't so fucking creepy, I can't claim it as my favorite movie because it's so dark.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. It is super film, and the writing, they deserve all the awards.
Is Hugh Grant the bad guy in that movie?
Yes.
Okay. That's such a role reversal because he's always the good guy.
Yeah.
Dude, and he does it is.
Did you guys see that movie Unfrosted with Jerry Seinfeld about the Pop-Tart? Oh my! Watch it. It's on Netflix.
Is it a comedy or?
Yeah, it's a comedy.
Yeah, okay.
It is so funny. But Hugh Grant's role, he's Thurl Ravencroft, who did he was the guy who did all the mascots for the Kellogg's cereal commercials, specifically the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes cut. They're great. Tony the Tiger.
Right.
He in that movie, you could watch that movie. It is so good. It's so funny. And Jerry Seinfeld did it, paid for it, acted in it, starred in it. It's so good.
I'm way more into. I'm off shows. I just like movies.
Yeah.
I like the format.
Unfrosted on Netflix is a gold mine of humor.
Right,
it's so good.
All right, Dana, I'm fucking dying. I gotta go to bed. This was awesome, dude. I could talk to you all fucking night if I wasn't such a pussy in the song. Anything?
Yeah. How about a book recommendation? You're a reader.
All right, I'll go in categories. Short, Old Man and the Sea, Ernest Hemingway.
Right. Yes.
All-time great.
Yep.
Okay.
You can read it in 2 sittings.
Mm-hmm.
Intro to Cormac McCarthy. All the Pretty Horses.
Yeah.
Brilliant movie, brilliant book. A little slow, so if you like faster books, No Country for Old Men.
The Pearl. You read that?
The Pearl.
Yeah. It's a la Old Man and the Sea. Kind of same. Same.
Steinbeck or
I think it's Steinbeck. Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing.
I love Steinbeck though.
Those are those are the books that make you dream. You just it puts you on the ocean. You're fucking there.
All-time favorite book, Moby Dick.
Okay.
Hands down.
Yeah, I tried reading that again.
Yeah. I would encourage listening. Audible is not a shameful thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And the audio production of Moby Dick is fantastic.
Yeah.
And if you listen to it and really, just sort of speed through it, don't try to think about it too much.
Hell yeah.
His prose is incredible, man.
Okay. Actually, Dana, I have a surprise for the audience. I think this will be super fun. So, I invite anybody who's listening to direct message us via Instagram with any questions you have.
Oh, yeah.
And then Dana and I will read the questions on the next podcast and answer them. So,
Brilliant.
Can do anything jiu-jitsu related, life, whatever. We're open books, so bring it.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Good.
Bring it on.
Yeah, that'd be fun, right?
Yeah, that'll be great.
All right.
Boom. All right, dude.
right.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
You're the fucking man.
Absolutely.
Look forward to our next roll and
Let's get it, man.
and all that goodness.
Thanks for coming, Bo.
Thank you
right.
for having me. I'm it's a thrill to be here.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
nice and sweaty.
All right.
right.
So,
Thanks, everybody. Love you.
all right, we'll see y'all.
Okay,
We're back.
soon. Bye.
Ooh, I'm dying.
So there is a movie. I don't know if you guys like.